Hey there, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations, and today we are going to be doing a craft with knitting needles. Now, these you can, I don't want to say often find, but sometimes find in the thrift store. So if you go back to where they have the yarn and the fabrics and things, you'll often find knitting needles. The difference is you need the metal ones for this, not plastic. So sometimes like the gray ones are plastic. Sometimes these colored ones are plastic. So you just have to check them to make sure that you're getting the metal ones. That's the big piece of this, but we are actually going to be making knitting needle bracelets today. So I'm going to pull you in so you can go along with me on this one, and we can take it from there. I got a couple of special tools and things I'm going to use, but you don't have to. You could make them as simple as anything. Now, as much as we're going to be making bracelets with this, bear in mind you can use the same technique to maybe make plant stakes, maybe a bookmark, but I think that these are super cute, especially if you have knitters in your world, your life, your family. Perfect for them. So let's get started. All right, now you do want to have a hard surface for this because we're going to be hammering this flat. So you need a heavy hammer and you need a hard surface. Now this is steel. This is actually my steel and my pizza steel that I brought from home. Just because I don't think my tabletop would do it, but probably the cement floor would. I just, brought it in because that's what I had. So what I am going to do, just to prevent as much scratching as possible, is I'm just going to cover it with a piece of, this is t-shirt fabric, but we're going to try and hammer it flat. So we just keep going. You can see that it starts to hammer it down, and I have this pushed right up to the edge so that I can tell where the heck it is to be able to hammer it. And you will see that as you hammer it, it starts to curve up, so you can flip it over and hammer it the other direction just to kind of even it out. Ultimately, we will be curving it, obviously, to fit around someone's wrist, but we want to do a couple of other things to it. So I'm going to get this noisy part done, and then I'll come back for the next step. It really does flatten out quite easily. Now, you do have a choice when it comes to the end. You could leave it on as part of your bracelet, but I find them kind of large and clunky. If I was doing this as a plant stake, obviously I'm straightening it out then, I would leave it on because I don't need to take it off. But in order to be able to take it off, I just take pliers and I just start bending it back and forth, and it will detach on its own. Now, this is sharp. We don't necessarily want to have a sharp edge for our bracelet. Let me just take that piece off, right? So I'm going to take it over to my sander, and I'm going to smooth that out. You could hand sand it till it's smooth. You could do it on a little grinding wheel. You could use your Dremel, which I just thought of would be a good idea for this. So I think I'm going to get my Dremel out. All right, so for the Dremel, I just want a little grinding wheel. I think that will work. And there we go. Let's just change this out. And then we'll give it a shot. But again, you can use, if you have like an orbital sander, I don't know if you've ever seen, I flip it up and then turn it on, so then the grinding wheel is facing up, and then I can just grind down into it rather than the way that you would sand a board or a piece of furniture or something, right? There we go. And mine is just pedal operated. So I get to just start grinding this smooth. Now the fun thing about this is that you can stamp in words into this. So if you were using it as a plant stake, you could type in, you could stamp in the word thyme or parsley or, you know, dill, coriander, whatever the herbs are. Because this is a knitting needle, or making a bracelet out of a knitting needle, I think putting words on it that relate to knitting or to a craft is kind of fun. So let's do, well, you know what? So I have little punches here, and I just have to find, I'm thinking, let's do knit, N-I-T, knit. Okay, so that's my first word. And we're just going to roughly line it up and punch it down in. I'd like that a little bit deeper. There we go. No being gentle with this. All right, so let me get my letters all, whoops, ow. My hand doesn't hold it very well still. All right, all right, so that's knit. And I still want another word. So let me look for the rest of my letters and get them on. I'll show you where we go next. All right. It is virtually impossible to do this and not get some kind of little scratching on here. So what I like to do is take some little mica powders. I'm just kind of not sure which blue really does the blue. And I kind of, let me get a little brush here. I kind of rub them all over. And it just kind of fills in any place that just looks a little shaky. I still keep that lovely metal look. I just try and get close to whatever it looked like. Right? Whatever color it was. And it just kind of smooths it out a little bit. And then I just kind of polish this along. So look how nice and bright that looks now. All right, so the next piece, oh, I really don't want to get all that mica powder all over my baking steel here. If you don't have one of these, this makes the best pizza. Way better than a pizza stone. These things heat up to, you know, like you put it in a 500-degree oven. When you put your pizza on it, you know, your fresh dough, that baby is cooked like within 3 minutes. It's like putting it into a real pizza oven. It's so crisp. Really, it's like the best thing for making pizza. And just, it's my baby. All right. So what I do have, I have these curved pliers. So see how they kind of curve? You want it to go in the direction that you want your bracelet to curve. And you just start going along And I think it's called like a bracelet curver or something like that. And it just starts your circle. Now, you could take this and wrap it around something that's round, right? You could take a bottle and wrap it around that. But if you just keep going, this starts to round out until you get kind of that bracelet shape. So I'm just going to keep going, get it rounded, and then come back and I'll show you how I finish it off. The last thing that we want to do is highlight our words. It's very hard to see what that says. So I'm taking an all-in-one paint. I have Fusion paint here in black, and I am going to just paint that over those letters, and then I am going to rub them back. So I'm going to remove all the paint from the top and just let it sit down in the lows. And it just helps those words pop more so you can see knit happens. You don't have a black all-in-one paint. You know what? You can take a Sharpie. Just wipe it away quickly so it stays just in the lows. And here are my finished bracelets. I've got Woolly and Wild, Knit Happens, Procrasti-knitter. You could do Unwind, Knitty Gritty would work. You know, Yarn Goddess, Knitting Goddess. I mean, you can come up with all of your own. They just make cute little bangles. Mine are fairly large because I have a large wrist. But you can obviously shape them to whatever size wrist you would like. You got a tiny wrist, maybe it wraps around twice. Okay, I've never seen a knitting needle long enough to go around twice, but you get real honking long ones. If they have those, they must have those. Then you could do that. You can make little rings, you can make bookmarks, you can make plant stakes, you can do almost anything. And these are metal, so they're not gonna break down and deteriorate over time. Let me know what you think of this one. Just something fun, something different, perfect little gift for a knitter in your world, or something different to have at a market, perhaps. Who knows? Let me know what you think of this. Love to hear from you as always, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.